China's Ministry of Transport announced that starting 14th October, special port charges will apply to United States vessels at Chinese ports. China said it had started to collect the special charges on US-owned, operated, built or flagged vessels, but clarified that Chinese-built ships would be exempted from the levies. This measure responds to the US port service fees effective the same day, targeting Chinese-owned, operated, flagged or built ships following a Section 301 investigation by the United States Trade Representative into China's maritime, logistics and shipbuilding sectors. Early this year, President Trump's administration announced plans to levy the fees on China-linked ships to loosen that country's grip on the global maritime industry and bolster US shipbuilding. In a reprisal against China curbing exports of critical minerals, Trump on Friday threatened to impose additional 100% tariffs on goods from China and put new export controls on any and all critical software by November 1st. And with the updates coming in, Chinese and Hong Kong stocks tumbled as investors booked profits and sought shelter in defensive plays, spooked by renewed Sino-US trade tensions that appear more entrenched than anticipated. The Shanghai Composite closed down 0.6% in Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index 1.7%, extending its losing streak to 7 sessions, the longest since January 2024. The city's tech index plunged as much as 4% in its worst day since April. All right, to understand more on this and what are the impacts and implications, we are joined by Professor Gulshan Sachdeva, School of International Studies, JNU. Welcome, Professor. Appreciate you giving us your precious time. How significant is this new round of port fees? Are we looking at a routine tariff dispute or the beginning of a deeper maritime confrontation between Washington and Beijing? Your take?
Well, I think this is not an isolated incident. Because what is really happening is in the last few months, since President Trump announced, the tariffs on large number of countries, and every country is trying to deal with that issue differently. Many of the countries in Europe, both the European Union, UK, Japan, and many others, they have some kind of made a deal with the United States. Accepting, between say 15 to 20% of tariffs. We are also trying to work out a deal with the United States, but China is dealing in a very different manner because these are two large economies in the world. They are also deeply integrated with each other. So they know that both of them have cards to play. And I think before the final, whatever the kind of settlement they will have, both are trying to flex their muscles and best deal out of this. And the Chinese, I think the official position is that we do not want this war, but we are ready for this. We are, we'll fight till the end. So they have certain, it's not, I mean, President Trump has been announcing mainly tariffs, but, before this, even the port fees, because China is also major players in this, the global shipping industry. So United States feel that it could hurt them. Similarly, now China has, mentioned yesterday that they would restrict, supply of rare earth. They control more than 90% of the processed rare earth, and not just only processed one, they also control global, I think 70% of mining of rare earths, and all kind of major industries from car industry to defense industry to electronic industries to green industries. I think all of them, they do need rare earth, which is totally almost controlled now at the moment by Chinese. So China feel that they can also twist certain things if there is a problem from the other side. And you can see, and this off and on, because once President Trump announced this, after a few hours, then he said, everything will be fine and it's okay. So I think this is what I could feel that, now they are closer to finalize because, there is a deadline just few weeks away. And at one point of time, they started, 145%, it was there from the United States. And I think close to 125% tariffs, even from the retaliatory tariffs from Chinese side at the
Yeah.
moment. It's something around, I mean, there are different ways I think things are happening, but something close to 58, 57% tariffs on the Chinese products. And similarly, the China has also imposed close to 25, 27% tariffs on the US products. So at the moment, still, I think that the problem is there, and that they're trying to sort it out. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to back down.
Yeah.
But problem is that the longer it goes, the global markets
Yes.
are, as we have reported, they are nervous, and ultimately it's also affecting the sentiments in the whole the business world, and it can hurt the global economy in a very beginning, very
Exactly. But Professor Sachdeva, are there any wider implications? I mean, how will these measures affect shipping and trade between the two countries? And are there wider implications for global maritime trade?
Well, I think one is that, everybody, I think every country, including India, we have also concerned that, the large part of the shipping is controlled by China. So
Yes.
every country is also trying to build their own capacities and, different kind of supply routes. Now you are trying to do that, but that may take time. So shipping industry would obviously would be affected because, ultimately a large part, or in fact exclusively, I mean, a large part of the trade actually goes via shipping only. And these two countries are, major players. Particularly China is a major player, and the United States being again a major economy, and some of their companies are also interested, are also active in this area. So this will affect. I mean, all the things which are happening, and everything is linked with each other. Tariffs, your shipping industries, your rare earth, political sentiments, and overall how this is really affecting the global economic governance. That's the
Yeah.
larger question. Because ultimately, if every country try to settle these things bilaterally, and they just keep announcing, then in the process we have almost, there is a collapse of the global trading system. There is a collapse of all kind of global norms, in fact, in which these things need to work, and in a highly globalized economy, because every country is integrated with other economy. So you can't really say that this will not affect you, it will affect everybody. And if there are certain global rules of the game, then it's better for everyone. But in the end, what happened is that if there are major countries like China and United States, if they start settling scores among themselves, depending on what their capacities are and how do they deal with this issue. Similarly, the third largest player, the European Union, they have also done the same thing bilaterally with the United States.
Yeah.
Now, in the process, in fact, large number of countries of the global south,
Yeah.
those who do not have the capacity like the European Union or China to fight with the United States. So they just have to then at the mercy of larger players. So whatever then later on is imposed on them, either they just have to accept it,
Yeah.
or they suffer certain consequences of this.
Mm.
This is not a very good news for the countries of the global south.
Yeah.
It's not a very good news for the global trading system or the global economic governance. But here we are, but this is what the things are happening, but the
Yeah.
problem is at the moment, this is affecting the global market and the global economy and the global trade.
Hugely. And amid all this, Professor Sachdeva, what do you think are the possible next steps for China and also the US in this maritime and trade dispute?
Well, one is it's quite likely that they would come to some kind of understanding in the next few weeks or whenever they will find the suitable time. And both of them are also in the long run would try to diversify. This is what is happening. This is what I think that everybody has understood. China is looking more towards markets away from the United States. So they would be looking markets in Africa. They are looking markets in India. They are also looking markets, in Europe and other parts of the world where they can have certain kind of products can be absorbed in those markets. And we can also see to some extent relatively better economic understanding between India and China, because they would also, because the Indian economy is next to them, and if they lose certain markets in the United States, they would feel that yes, I mean, India could also absorb some of those products, but then they also have to negotiate in that sense. How do they really provide certain market access to Indian products into their markets? And then also they have to provide certain technologies to Indian modernization process. So, there are large number of consequences which at this point of time, this is a moving kind of puzzle. So how this is happening between country A and B would obviously affect country C, but overall, the system is really in a trouble now.
Absolutely, and hope US and China come out with a solution in the coming days. We'll leave it at that. Professor Sachdeva, thank you for your insights.
Thank you. Thank you.